The secret Bruce Jenner says he always tried to keep hidden, now coming to light.
Yes, for all intents and purposes, I am a woman.
We have a very complex relationship. He's disappeared out of our lives.
Yeah, I didn't do a good job.
We're trying not to look back, we're just looking forward.
Honesty, it works.
Caitlyn Jenner has been an Olympic athlete and a pop culture icon, but now that she's open about herself, things have never been better. This star went from living a lie to living her best life. To outsiders, William Bruce Jenner was a rough and tumble athlete who earned the nickname Bruiser from her father. But according to Caitlyn, she pursued sports because her dyslexia made schoolwork nearly impossible. Even though it caused her to fail second grade and lose enthusiasm for education, Caitlyn believes it made her special and put her on her athletic path. Aside from her learning disability, there was something else unique about Caitlyn, but she was desperate not to let anyone find out the truth.
Bruce Jenner is, I would say I've always been very confused with my gender identity since I was this big.
In her memoir, The Secrets of My Life, Caitlyn revealed that at age 10, she started wearing her mother's dresses in private. She would carefully mark where she had taken each piece of clothing or accessory so they could be returned to the proper place and her secret would be safe. Caitlyn wrote that even at this young age, her life had become a sealed box, and over time, the sides would become even higher and ultimately impossible to scale. At the time, she didn't know why she felt compelled to do these things, and the lack of available information led her to feeling increasingly isolated. She admits to feeling envious of men and women who seemed comfortable in their own skins and secure in their identities. Caitlyn's passion for athletics paid off, and by the time she was in high school, she was the MVP of the basketball team, football team, and track team. She accepted a football scholarship to what is now Graceland University, but was ultimately forced to stop playing because of a knee injury. Since giving up sports wasn't an option, she switched to the decathlon and came in 10th place in the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich. But this victory only made Caitlyn want to train harder. While she was still grappling with her gender identity, Caitlyn felt confident in her sexuality and knew that she was attracted to women. She married Christy Crownover, who supported their family and Caitlyn's Olympic dreams by working as a flight attendant. According to Caitlyn, Christy was the first person to know the truth about her gender identity when it was revealed during their first year of marriage. Although Christy was accepting, she admits that Caitlyn's secret caused an underlying unrest in their marriage.
It's so hard to wrap your head around it, particularly because he was such a manly man.
To make things even more difficult, Caitlyn was training between 6 to 8 hours every day to get ready for the games, and it wasn't just a test of her physical strength.
It's your soul. It's about who you are as a person.
Between 1973 and 1976, she competed in 13 decathlons and only lost a single event. At the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal, she delivered a world record-setting performance and took home the gold. Many people considered Caitlyn to be the world's greatest athlete after this amazing victory. Her athletic career was on the right track, but her marriage, not so much. After having 2 children together, Burton and Cassandra, Caitlyn and Christy divorced in 1981. Christy claims she had accepted Caitlyn for who she was, but Caitlyn's struggle to accept herself led to the end of their marriage. But as soon as the ink dried on the divorce papers, Caitlyn married Linda Thompson, and 5 months later they welcomed their son Brandon. 2 years after he was born, Linda gave birth to another son, Sam, better known as Brody. Caitlyn had started taking hormone therapy treatments and undergoing electrolysis sessions in secret. When she gave motivational speeches about athletics, she often wore bras and pantyhose underneath. Caitlyn admits that she felt self-conscious during these daring moments and eventually opened up to Linda about what she was going through.
My remarkable husband came to me one day and said, I need to tell you something about myself.
At first, Linda was worried Caitlyn was going to confess to an affair, but instead she learned that her husband identified as a woman. She admits that it was devastating and says she was totally blindsided by this revelation. But despite this, she did her best to be supportive.
It broke my heart to think that he had struggled so long and so hard.
The first time Linda saw Caitlyn dressed in women's clothing, she broke down crying and realized that the man she had fallen in love with was really a woman. Caitlyn says that in the aftermath of her divorce, she fell into a severe depression. Although she doesn't blame Linda for her reaction, she was left feeling humiliated and more desperate to keep her true nature a secret than ever before. She was terrified of being discovered, and this caused her to pull away from her friends, family, and even her children. Now that they're all grown up, her kids have admitted how they felt abandoned by their father during this time.
Growing up, I didn't really have the greatest relationship with Bruce. I didn't see him that often.
Telling the truth about who she was seemed like an impossibility.
And that's very hard for Bruce Jenner to say. Because why? I don't want to disappoint people.
Some days, Caitlyn comforted herself by thinking that at least when she passed away, she could be buried as a woman instead of a man. Actually living as her authentic self seemed totally out of reach. She was at an all-time low when she met Kris Jenner, dealing with feelings of depression and struggling financially with just $200 in the bank. The two were set up on a blind date, and according to Kris, it was love at first sight. She was going through a tough time as well, since her marriage to Robert Kardashian was ending due to an affair on her end. After just 5 months of dating, the two married, and Kris became her wife and manager at the same time.
Take your time.
You met this wonderful woman, the love of your life, you get married, and of course you wind up having children.
Being a step-parent isn't easy, and according to Caitlyn, it got a lot tougher as the girls got older. She knew she was in for a tough time when she greeted a then 14-year-old Kourtney.
And it was, breakfast, and I said, "Good morning," and she looks at me and goes, "I hate when you talk to me that way."
At least Kris was on top of the family's financial problems, booking speaking engagements for Caitlyn and capitalizing on her former career as an athlete. They even created their own line of stair climbing equipment and made an infomercial called Super Fit with Bruce Jenner. This created a welcome cash flow and taught Kris some valuable lessons in creating compelling content. And let's just say that definitely came into play later. Now, this is the part of the story which has two distinct sides. According to Kris Jenner, she had no idea that the husband she loved was really a woman. But in her memoir, Caitlyn says that Kris only married her to make her ex-husband angry and that she was well aware of her secrets.
You are the toughest one to talk to out of anybody, okay?
Well, maybe it's because I'm the one you lied to the longest.
The couple struggled with infertility that Caitlyn believed to be caused by her hormone therapy. She claims it's incredible that Kendall and Kylie were born, all things considered. Of course, we all know about Keeping Up with the Kardashians, a show that's still going on to this day. According to Caitlyn, she doesn't quite understand what viewers find appealing about the show, but she enjoyed being a part of it. She believes that the show forced the family to sit down and talk to each other more than they would have otherwise. Caitlyn is also happy that it helped her children become as successful as they are today. While Kris may claim to have been in the dark about Caitlyn, her daughter Kim was only too aware of the situation after catching her stepfather dressed in women's clothing.
And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I've caught him with this secret.
Kim doesn't believe that Kris knew the extent of Caitlyn's secret and that she was so in love she tried to avoid discussing the potentially volatile subject. But as we all know, the truth eventually came out. Back in 2013, TMZ broke the story that Caitlyn had met with a plastic surgeon for a consultation regarding a laryngeal shave, a procedure which smooths out the Adam's apple. At first, Caitlyn denied everything, but inside she was panicking that her secret was out. In this dark moment, she thought about taking her own life rather than go public with the truth. So she took control of her own narrative and came out formally during an interview with Diane Sawyer. To Caitlyn, coming clean made winning the Olympics look easy, but it's made her truly happy.
No, I wake up in the morning and I have a feeling of peace.
It's also helped her repair her relationships with her kids from her first two marriages, who she had spent years pulling away from.
Bruce had so many secrets and so many things that were building up.
According to her son Brody, they've never gotten along better.
It's just a much freer person. It's incredible to see the difference between Caitlyn and Bruce.
As for the Kardashian Jenner kids, things have been a lot more complicated. Many of them were angry at Caitlyn for comments she made about Kris, both during interviews and in her memoir.
And then she goes around dissing the Kardashians, but it's like, those are the kids that you raised.
According to Khloe, she was furious that the first time she found out about Caitlyn was during a business meeting for the show I Am Kate. Although the two used to be incredibly close, Caitlyn admits she hasn't spoken to Khloe in 5 or 6 years.
Honestly, it's been 5-6 years, and I really haven't talked to her since.
As for Kendall and Kylie, they're still close to their dad, and Kim and Kourtney and Kris are trying their best to be civil for their sake. Caitlyn has been married 3 times, but she isn't sure if she wants to date again. Although many people are curious about her sexuality, she says she simply isn't interested in seeing anyone of any gender. But she does have a good friend and fellow trans woman Sophia Hutchins, who everyone thinks she's dating. The Daily Mirror even described Sophia as her fiancé, and considering that these two live together, work together, and share a dog, it's not surprising these rumors persist. But Sophia says they've never been romantically involved, and she simply works as Caitlyn's manager as well as her bestie. After being in the public eye for so long, both before and after her transition, Caitlyn enjoyed a welcomed break for a while and stepped out of the spotlight. She says that despite her work in reality TV, she's a very private person and wants to keep some things to herself. Apparently, all of those comments about her dating life and questions about her surgeries got exhausting after a while. But if you're looking for more Caitlyn, you're in luck. Her BFF/manager Sophia got her a gig on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and even Kendall admits to tuning in. For so long, Caitlyn suffered in silence, but now she's returning to the screen on her own terms. What do you think about the life story of this former Olympic athlete? Let us know what you think about Caitlyn Jenner in the comment section below, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at The Taco. Bye for now!